So I hadn't got my compressor hooked up yet, and I got sick of waiting for my bike, so I took it next door and did the plastic welding. I'll give you a little closer look at it. Both corners had broken off, and there wasn't much support on the front half of this fender. Flip it over. So we happened to find a bit of touch-up paint in among the paint bones, and turns out it's a half decent match for the bike, so we did a quick paint job. This is the completed aluminum box. We got it drilled to match the holes in the fender, so it should bolt right up to the bike. A little bit of memory foam padding for our battery, and some drain holes so the water don't stay in it this time. Should outlast the old one by a long margin, I guess. Here's a look at a bit of a unique setup we had to get into this morning to do a couple of side axles for a race car. So we tilt the head over, clamp everything up in the vise with some V-blocks and a couple of spacers underneath, and get a machinist jack on the back for a bit of support, and we're indexing them using our tapered pin again to center up each hole. We swap out to a drill bit and drill each one. So it's time to get started at this power drawbar. First thing we're going to have to make, of course, is a plate to mount the thing to the top of the mill. This is the top of my mill, and this is a bearing adapter for the upper end of the spindle. And I think what we're going to do is make our plate and match these 3 holes in the top and use longer bolts to bolt the whole unit down. So we need to know the dimensions of this and the radius from center, and how we're going to do it is using our digital caliper center finding function. To do that, of course, you measure the diameter of one of your holes. So we'll zero our caliper at that setting. Now if you run your caliper and measure, use the inside jaws and measure the distance across your hole, you'll get your center distance. And in this case it's 3.920. So we'll double check all our bolts. Not going to work that way. So we're coming up with an average reading of 3.920. We'll use that measurement in our CAD program and draw out this piece, and then start to draw the remaining pieces to finish our power drawbar. So here's the score and the measurements for the top of the mill. We got 3.920 between each hole, so we'll take all our measurements home, we'll CAD it all up, and we'll get our radius for our where we have to drill our mounting plate, and we'll start drawing up the rest of our parts from here. So we're going to use our AutoCAD now to draw out some of our dimensions for our base plate. I use this as pretty much a tool to find out a lot of information, and it makes it easier. You just draw it out and then you look up angles, you look up lengths, whatever you do. So to do this, we're going to start off with one hole. We'll draw one of our counterbore holes. So we'll do a diameter of 0.428. So we got one hole. So now we can zoom in a bit so you can see it better. And then we'll do a line from center of this hole, polar at 0 degrees, and we're going to put it our measured distance from center to center, which would be 3.920. That gives us a line. At the other end of this line, we'll do a second hole. Again, diameter 0.428. So now we can zoom out a little bit. Now for our third hole, we need to draw a couple more lines. So we'll start with the end of this one. Now we're going to go at an angle of, what is it there, at 240 degrees. So we do our angle override, and then we do our center distance again, which is 3.920. So that'll give us a line at that point. Then we can go to the end of our first line, and that'll give us our 3 places for our counterbore holes. So we can draw our third hole. So that gives us our 3 points. Now to find our center, we'll simply draw lines perpendicular to the opposite side, or halfway works. Whole bunch of lines. So now we can get rid of some of these. So that'll give us our center point, and in the center we need a hole for our drawbar of 1.2 inches. So now what we can do, grab a dimensioning tool here, and we can get our radius. Well, not that way, we won't. Let's try the proper dimensioning tool. Then we'll get our radius of 2.263. So we'll use this when we construct a base plate for the power drawbar. So I've got a piece of 6-inch aluminum for our base plate, so I may as well go ahead and draw that in there as well. So we'll go center, diameter, and 6. So we'll draw that part. We can erase a whole bunch of these lines, and this will give us our basic layout for our base plate. And we'll go from there, and missed a line. So we'll go from there and start building our power drawbar.